Hi, my name is Ann Slater Brown. I am doing this for my Intro to Sociology class. So the first question is, imagine you're a president of a Fortune 500 company. You started out as a secretary right out of high school and worked your way to the top. The vice president and CEO are always at odds. As a expressive leader, how do you resolve this social dilemma and restore order in the leadership positions between these two officers? In order to restore order between the two officers, I would treat them no different than any other employee. I would call a meeting between both parties, have them figure out their differences, explain to them that this is a professional environment and we have one common goal with the company. I would also report to human resources as well to take any courses deemed necessary for settling their differences they have with one another. This will hopefully teach them they are no higher than the secretary I started out as, and that they need to lead by example. So the second question is going to be, name the three types of formal organizations and explain how each is different. Also explain a time when you were involved in one of these organizations and the positives and negatives it had with it. The first one that I saw was the utilitarian organization. That would be an example of a formal organization. I would use this organization you would use this organization to get something out of it. A good example would be attending Aspen University. I am using that to gain a degree to advance my career goals. Second organization would be voluntary organization. This is something that you would join willingly, and what the whole point of the organization is you have a common goal. A good example of this would be that I am part of now would be that my daughter is currently in Girl Scouts and she joined at her own will, and it turned out to have a positive experience. She's always joining things, doing volunteer work, and she's learning a lot of things, and she can also use that later to for educational purposes to show that she did volunteer, and hopefully use that as an advantage to get scholarship opportunities. The third organization would be the coercive organization. That's something that you join unwillingly. An example I thought of that would be military. The only time that would be unwillingly would be during a draft, but even now, it's still unwillingly because male individuals are still required to register for the draft until they're 35, unless they're unhealthy to do so. But they are still taught to prepare ahead of time to register, just in case there's an event like that does happen. So they still unwillingly, it's by law that they have to register to be part of that group. The third question is, you decided to run for a public office. Although you have little to no experience with elections, holding office, or campaigning, you feel you can be successful since you helped a friend who served in a public office seat last term. Explain how this is a characteristic of Weber's ideal of bureaucracy and what you will do to prove your competence under these circumstances. With this specific scenario, I believe it will relate more to the technical competence, because you don't know how to run a campaign, but you do have the qualifications. You don't need to know everything to how to run a campaign. I believe that you would just hire off. It'd be no different than having a company. You would hire individuals to run the campaign, people to do the media version, people to do flyers, people to rent out the stadiums, or where you would be having your campaign office, where you would have your rallies. You wouldn't really have to know how to do all those things. You would just have to hire off and find individuals who are qualified in those areas to help you run for office. So you would just at least know how to do the technical portion, at least be the leader and point people in directions that would do those jobs for you. So I believe that would be the technical compliance to it. The fourth question, as a creative manager of a small group of employees in the advertising department, you notice one of your designers have withdrawn from meetings offering no input. This employee alienation concerns you. What would you do to socialize this employee and engage them into their job? I would first bring them into my office and see if there's anything going on personally that would maybe I can offer my assistance in. Possibly maybe they are hard of hearing, so they withdraw because they are ashamed to ask for their coworkers to speak up or slower. If that is not the case, then I would proceed to explain to the employee that the success of the department depends on everyone's input. I would see if there's anything holding them back specifically in why they're alienating themselves, or maybe there's a misunderstanding that they are having with another coworker. If there's nothing that comes up, like with the obvious cases such as those, then I would have a meeting where I would get at least one input from each employee and let them know that their input is valuable, and then that there's no input, no matter big or small, that is not important. Thank you.